Hey, what's up guys, it's Lee, and today I want to talk to you guys about the 35mm focal length. Now, this is a focal length that I actually have fallen in love with recently, but it's also a focal length that I feel like is a little bit controversial, right? Like, a lot of people feel like maybe the 50mm is really the focal length to go to, or it's either that or like the 24. And some people feel like maybe the 35 is sort of more of a like redundant sort of focal length where it's not wide enough and it's not tight enough at the same time. But I actually like that about the 35, and I actually like that, especially when it comes down to the Sigma 35 1.4 DGDN art lens that I have. I love this lens because it's very sharp, it's very crisp. And then even down to 1.4, I'm able to get a really beautiful shot with a little bit of creamy background, just a little bit. But it's also a little bit of an environmental shot in a way as well, depending on my subject. I'm able to capture, a little bit of the background and also a lot of the subject. Obviously that depends on how close I'm getting, but the photos that I've been able to get with this 35 have really blown me away. I've been really surprised by how much I like the shots and how beautiful they are. So this is actually, I'm gonna put up a few on the screen, but these are a few shots that I got most recently that I feel like are some of my favorite photos that I've taken with a 35mm focal length. And so this is a focal length that I really intend to get more shots with this year when it comes down to portraits and then also with weddings. So for instance, I do have, of course, an 85. I would love to pair this 35 with an 85 when shooting a wedding. It's something that I hear a lot of people doing, and I hear a lot of success, and I feel like that's also a great combination to use, and I would love to try that out. So that's something that I do intend to do this year with maybe my next wedding coming up. And then also when it comes down to portraits, I really want to make use of this a little bit more with portraits as well. So this is a focal length that I think, like I said, is a phenomenal focal length. It's a little bit different, right? It's not the same as like a 50 or an 85 where you're getting that super duper creamy bokeh background like crazy, right? It's a focal length where you get a little bit of that, and a focal length where you also get a little bit of the environment, right? You get a nice mix of portraiture and environmental in one photo. And I think that when it comes down to this focal length, maybe one of the reasons why some people don't necessarily like this focal length that much is just because of the focal length itself. It's like when you are taking a photo with a 35, there are a lot of different factors that you have to consider. You have to consider the subject, the contrast, your environment, the background, the lighting. There's so many different elements that you need to consider. And I feel like when it comes down to getting a beautiful shot with a 35mm, when it comes down to portraiture, I feel like you have to have all those other things correct, right? All those other things have to be in place. Or maybe there is one element in there that's a little bit more exaggerated than the others that really lends itself to a beautiful, unique shot. So for instance, if you're taking a portrait outside and you have some nice sunlight, but there's also some shadows, some deep shadows, and also maybe some streaks of light, and you're able to capture a portrait of someone in that sort of light, maybe you're getting a mix of all those different things. And I feel like a shot like that is going to be absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful, because you're able to capture all those different elements into one photo versus an 85 or, even a 70-200 if you want to get that really super duper blown out background or bring the background really close to you. If you want to do something like that, you're not going to be able to capture all of those things in one shot. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to do that. But again, that's what makes the 35 very unique. Now that's my take on the 35 and why I love this focal length so much. If you were considering getting a 35, I would definitely say go for it. If you're a little bit on the fence, borrow one from a friend, maybe rent a lens, just to see how you actually like it. Personally, like I said, I have the Sigma 35 1.4 DGDN lens for my Sony system. I highly recommend this lens. Is it the G Master? No, it's not a G Master lens. I didn't go with the G Master because I moved over from Canon and I needed to save a few bucks. And this was a beautiful lens. I've heard great things about it and it didn't disappoint me. So I'm pretty sure it's not going to disappoint you either. But if you're interested in getting this lens itself, I will leave a link in the description below. You can go check it out. But I want to hear from you guys. What is your favorite thing about the 35mm focal length? Is it a lens that you loved right away? Did you have to sort of, did it have to grow on you? Tell me your perspective. I'm really curious to see like what your experience is with the 35mm. Now, if you're new here and you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button for more videos just like this one. If you like this video and you found it helpful, hit the like button, and I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.